There's a line I improvise in the movie looking at Maguire and Holland, and I tell them, what? Yeah, I love them. That was just me loving them. Oh, that was one of the best moments in the movie.
Oh,
no way.
I want to know.
Oh, shit. Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Garfield has come out to reveal that he is indeed the werewolf.
I'm not the werewolf. I promise you I am not.
He is finally talking about Spider-Man No Way Home. Right here from Variety, the headline is Andrew Garfield finally spills about Spider-Man Return and Future. I came across this because the quote was going around about how he's talking about wanting to return for Spider-Man No Way Home. And then from skimming this article, we didn't really read it because we wanted to react to it with you guys on camera and see what he has to say. But from what I gathered, there's like 6 questions and there's paragraphs for many of them. So I'm like, oh man, Andrew Garfield's talking in depth about this shit.
He's been like a garden hose that's been kinked for months on end, just spraying.
So excited to read this.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to dive into this.
Absolutely.
Guys, if you go ahead and thwip that like button, would really appreciate it. And also, leave down in the comments if you do want Andrew Garfield to return. I know you do. Anywho, shall we dive into this?
Let's do it.
Let's dive into this. First question of the day. Starting simple, why did you say yes to No Way Home? I wasn't expecting, I won't do that shit, all right? I wasn't expecting to ever have a conversation again about potentially playing Peter Parker. I felt very excited to just be a fan again. But I got this call from Amy Pascal and Kevin Feige and John Watts with this idea. Can you imagine just getting that call with all 3 of them?
And they were all on a 3-way call, in their rooms because of the pandemic, like high school.
It was immediately undeniable. It sounded incredibly fun, incredibly spiritual, trippy, and thematically interesting. On a base level, as a Spider-Man fan, just the idea of seeing 3 Spider-Men in the same frame was enough.
He was in the exact same position all of us were. Yeah, the pitch was really, really enticing. They said you played this character in your way, and what would you want to explore if you had an opportunity? If you were dumped into this other universe and faced with this younger you and this older you, how will you respond?
Oh, how interesting. So it's like they explored options with him on how he could approach this.
That's so cool. And,
that's
for
a dream
Marvel's
for an actor.
reputation,
Yeah.
that's got to be a big badge of respect of, you want my input?
Oh, yeah, especially to want the input on something on this grand of a caliber and how much stakes there are to something like this. That's so cool that they gave him the option to throw some ideas of what you might want. We talked a lot about mentorship. We talked a lot about brotherhood. Oh man, that's in the film.
Right?
What it is to be the older brother, younger brother, and the middle brother. There's also a thing of seeing someone you love walking down a path that you've already walked down, and it doesn't lead to the place where you ultimately meant to go. See, that's so good because part of the script that I loved, especially with the 3 Spider-Men, was that a lot of the way the relationships built and the plot moved forward with them felt very character driven. And it seems like a lot of this was inspired per their conversation.
100%. That character is isolated in his emotional experience and physical experience. But what happens when that aloneness gets blasted open and you come to realize that you've never been alone and there are other brothers going through the exact same thing? That's a big spiritual journey to go on, man. And then we just milked out all the fun we possibly can have.
Yes.
Yeah, which it really does just show in the movie. And that speaks to, I think, what is so effective about it, because just that attention to the emotional resonance of it all is what's reaching the most people, and they clearly put the most TLC into that, which is very inspiring on a Hollywood scale.
Yeah, absolutely. You and Tobey Maguire really did this. This was, yeah, right, they did.
You really did this.
This wasn't a green screen setup in your driveway, and they have a profound impact on Tom Holland's Spider-Man. We were shooting for 2 weeks, Tobey and I, but I think we managed to achieve something that is not just showing up and going, hi, bye. That was so true. It's something that felt so surreal and uncanny about they're in the same room. My Spider-Man got to save his younger brother's romantic relationship, potentially, and to heal the most traumatic moment of his own life through doing it for his younger brother, making sure they didn't have the same fate. There's something cosmically beautiful about that. It meant getting a second chance at saving Gwen, Garfield's love interest in The Amazing Spider-Man, played by Emma Stone. Beautiful moment, brings a lot of people to tears.
It brought me to tears each time.
Every time. The spirit that Zendaya brings to MJ is so heartfelt and pure and loving, and Emma brought that similar unique spirit to Gwen. Oh man, you just feel that emotional transference there in that scene. I love that.
Oh dude, absolutely. Talk about your time with your fellow Spider-Men. What did you share off screen? Compare notes about spandex and fans. He goes on to say, I think the first time we were all in the suit together, it was hilarious because it's like just 3 ordinary dudes who are just actors, just hanging out. But then also you just become a fan and say, oh my God, we're all together in the suits and we're doing the pointing
We're doing the pointing thing.
Which mean, they must have been doing that constantly on set.
Yes.
There was talk about going to the bathroom and, padding around the package. I'm glad. Look at Tobey Maguire's dick. We talked about what worked for each of us. Tom was jealous because I have little zippers in my suit that I can get my hands out of very easily. To work his phone, he had to use his nose because he couldn't access his hands. We would have deeper conversations too and talk about our experiences with the character. And to have Amy Pascal there, who has seen through 9 movies, including Spider-Verse, it was a revelatory experience for her, realizing how much life and time she'd given to this character. That was beautiful and profound.
I'm glad Amy Pascal's actually getting some love for the
I know, for the first time ever, because she always gets the blame for like half the things that go wrong.
There's a line I improvise in the movie looking at Maguire and Holland, and I tell them, what? Yeah, I love them. That was just me loving them. Oh, that was one of the best moments in the movie. No way.
I want to know.
Oh, shit.
I want to know how the rest of that scene then came together. Like, was that their initial reaction? And then we're like, shit, we got to cover that.
What I love about reading all this is it really sounds like they let them form their characters, form their relationships together, and then wrote around that.
Which is so cool.
All that life is there. It's not just the drama and the heft. It's also the fun and the camaraderie. Oh, it's so great. It's so
Gives me
great.
hope for cinema. Scorsese.
Yeah, Scorsese. It's all a big dig at you. The screenwriters said at one point they consider bringing back Kirsten Dunst and Emma Stone. What would you have liked to see for your Peter and Gwen? Oh my God, I don't even know where to start with that. It's too big. Gwen had agency. In our film, on her final day, she shows up. I tried to restrain her from showing up to that scene with Electro, Jamie Foxx. I knew that it was too dangerous, but she chose to be there. She had a hand on her own destiny in that way, and that movie is about fate. I will say the image of catching Zendaya's MJ, that was really beautiful, and it kind of sold me on the whole thing. That is the arc and the redemption. Absolutely amazing.
You gotta know that's gonna affect people huge. A lot of the conversation about this movie has been about a sort of redemption for your Spider-Man, narratively, commercially. How does that feel? I'm so grateful. I'm just really, really grateful that I got to tie up some loose ends for the Peter that I was playing. I love the character, and I'm grateful that I got to work with these incredible actors, this incredible director, and Marvel in conjunction with Sony. Little Sony cred. It was joyful and a feeling of closure for me. There was so many unanswered questions for my Peter where we left it. I got to step back in and got some healing for him, and also really supporting Holland's Peter and honoring his character, completing that trilogy, not distracting or detracting from it.
I really love that because it seemed like he really knew his position here, that he was here to support.
Absolutely.
Not to try to steal the show or try to become the center of attention, but to be a support for this trilogy, but also, give some closure to his character. And then, of course, the thing that, this is the last one. Would you be open to coming back to the character? I mean, yes. Definitely open to something if it felt right. Peter and Spider-Man, those characters are all about service to the greater good and the many. He's a working class boy from Queens that knows struggle and loss and is deeply empathetic. I would try to borrow Peter Parker's ethical framework in that. If there was an opportunity to step back in and tell more of that story, I would have to feel very sure and certain in myself. Hell yeah. Oh, he's totally coming back. He's 1,000% coming back.
My God.
He's coming back, man. You could just feel it. There's some video that I was working on earlier today, making some notes about like all the Morbius, all the clues that how Venom and Morbius are in the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man universe. And I was like making a bunch of notes for it. We might do that this weekend. This right here, just him talking about it this extensively and then saying he would want to come back, the fans petitioning for him to come back, and the amount of love, adoration. Sony's paying attention to all that shit. Fans want it. He wants it. It's happening. It's happening. Guys, this was a great article. This is really juicy stuff, man.
This is really fun.
depth. This is really fulfilling. I was very happy with this one. This is one of the most exciting things I've read.
It feels like one of the rare, press articles you read where I'm like, wow, this really is apparent in the film. I can feel your joy and enthusiasm. It makes me so happy.
Guys, what did you think about everything Andrew Garfield had to say? What was your biggest takeaway from what he said here? Put down in the comments if you want him in return. Subscribe, click that bell, hit that like button. We will catch you mother effers soon.